So I'm going to explain which options are most important for a MK8 Golf R. Now, it's a car that I've driven a fair amount on the channel and obviously discussed sort of over the last couple of years. And I had a question from a subscriber. It's the community channel, so I like to help you guys out as much as I can. And it basically just said, is the performance pack essential? And it basically just got me thinking what options are probably most essential, which ones to go for, and what you should do. So that's what I'm going to explain today. So this is the UK VW configurator to kind of go through that. Just before I get into it, I want to talk about the Gti Club 45, that limited edition car which I've driven on the channel. I mentioned it's still not available on the VW website. Today, I'm filming this on the 18th of October, it's still not there. I've had a little check on the used market as well, as you can see here. There's only two up for sale and they're around £48,000 each. So that's where we're at with the 45. Maybe it will appear back, maybe it won't. The R, brand new, £40,025. So let's get straight into this. Anyway, let's look at some of the used cars. Let me talk you through some of the options to go for. So the cheapest used car at the moment on Auto Trader is £40,900. So still about list. This has got a pan roof, 10,000 miles. And I think it goes up to the most expensive. It's probably going to be still quite high. Yeah, there's still that one up for £60,000, £56,000. Yeah, it's a bit crazy, to be honest with you. But let's just take this almost base spec, but it's got a sunroof as kind of like an example. Now, I'm lucky enough that I've driven a car on sort of with the performance pack, without the performance pack, with DCC, without DCC, with Akrapovic exhaust, without Akrapovic exhaust, some of the main essential options. Now, for me, I'm a Golf R owner. I've owned the car for 4 years. I've shown it on the channel for the last 4 years, and I love my Mark 7. For me personally, the main point of a Golf R is that sort of subtle under the radar type of thing. That's just my real feeling. I think the GTI Club Sport and stuff is more out there in terms of its looks. So to answer that question about the performance pack, what it will do to an R is it will make it look more like a Club Sport. That's just the idea. If that's kind of your thing, then yes, it's probably worth going for it. It is about £2,000, so it's quite a lot of money. This car in particular doesn't have the performance pack, and it has the standard 18-inch wheels. I think it looks nice, and that's the main thing I want to say to you guys. If you went into a showroom and you didn't choose any options on the car, you just went for whatever paint, there's only 3 paint colours, white, black and lapis blue, you are still getting a great car. There are none of the options as I kind of go through this have massively blown me away, if that makes sense. Completely changed the car. On a look side, I like them both, with or without performance pack. It doesn't really concern me. Exhaust wise, the Akrapovic exhaust sounds fantastic, but the standard exhaust sounds really good, also looks good. Yeah, there's nothing I don't like. I'm slightly more of a fan of 18-inch wheels in general because tyres are a little bit cheaper and the ride can be a little bit more compliant. Again, for me, more in line with what an R is all about. This is all just my opinion. But if you did get an absolutely base car, you're fine, basically. There's nothing really to worry about. Out of all the options that I've sort of seen, heads-up display, Harman Kardon, stereo, panoramic roof, 19-inch wheels, everything, the main one that made the biggest difference that I was surprised about was dynamic chassis control. So that's one that I would probably recommend. But on the flip side, I have driven one without, and it's not like the car falls apart. Dynamic chassis control, changing the suspension, making it softer, making it more comfortable, that kind of stuff. Or making it firmer when you kind of want it to be. Now, let's be honest, this is just a Volkswagen Golf. It's not like this crazy sophisticated system. In fact, I wonder if it only changed like dampers on the front. I don't even know if it does on the back. I don't know. But certainly for a driver, I noticed the difference, which is great. Is it a deal breaker if you don't get it? No. Is it great if you do? Yes. All the other options for me were sort of like nice to haves. Heads up display. My eyes can look down slightly further at the speedo, without needing heads up display. It's not an essential. Harman Kardon for me, I like listening to my music, but I'm not massively into it. But if you take one of the owners that I spoke to and I did a Q&A with, who's moving from a Club Sport to an R, Harman Kardon for him was really, really important. He works as a DJ. Sound for him is quite a big thing. So for that person, it's almost like it's more of an essential than anything else. He loved the performance pack looks of the car. Go for it, 100%. And have a fantastic looking car. I have to say, in lapis blue, I have seen one with performance pack. one lives not too far away from me. It looks fantastic. It's probably one of the ones that I would like to go for if, if it did ever happen. The 19 on the 18-inch wheels, it's up to you. It's just whatever one you prefer. It's personal preference on that side of things. 19-inch will make the ride slightly firmer. That's really all to say on that front. Again, the Aquaproach exhaust, you're paying £3,000. And again, on the cost-wise, you've got to look at it. If you've got an absolutely, particularly if you're stretching to get this car, if you're, options can just add up and add up and add up. Think to yourself, well, instead of getting that performance pack, instead of getting that Aquaproach exhaust, instead of getting that dynamic chassis control, instead of getting the pan roof, that's another grand. Use that money to enjoy the car, to put miles on it, which will ultimately depreciate the car. Spend money on fuel, take it to like Scotland or something like that, take it around the North Coast 500, take it to some amazing roads in like the Peak District that I've been fortunate enough to go to, or sort of other areas of the country, and enjoy the car while we still can. Put your money in that area. Having the experience is more important than, for me personally, than a car sitting on my drive, fully optioned, not doing anything because I can't afford to really take it out. That's the main thing I would say. So if you're on a sort of like a financial budget, just go for it absolutely basic. Honestly, you'll probably be able to find a better deal as well. They're already starting to sit almost below 40 grand now in the used market, so it's going to eventually come back down. I think I checked, there's 55 Golf Rs for sale, so on Auto Trader, so it's starting to build up from what it was in the past. The lack of colour options mean you don't really have too much of a choice there, but obviously you spend a little bit more if you go for the Lapis blue paint, which is a shame because it's more of a signature colour for the R, but that's just what they do to get their margins. Inside, actually, one thing to mention, I love these seats, and leather seats personally aren't for me. It actually reacts quite badly in my skin, so I couldn't sit in it for like 2 hours. That's just where I am. I actually really like the leather seats. An owner did send me his one a couple of months ago, and I thought they were quite nice, and something I haven't really seen even on the used market, seen those type of seats. So that could be something. It might bring your car more in line with, say, like an Audi S3 for example, which has like leather as standard. You can just about see them in these poor pictures from this car, which is £56,000, and they can't even take some proper images of the seats. But here's the rear seats. It looks quite nice. It's a nice car. It's a great car. That's it with pan roof without performance pack. But you're looking at the price. It's just obscene, frankly. You're paying £20,000 more than list. It's not worth it for a Golf. You're spending another 50% of the car's value on options. Have a think. I don't want people getting into trouble with these cars, because you will lose a lot of your money. This is just a Golf. This isn't some sort of limited run car which is going to hold its money really, really well. It's going to lose money. There's the performance pack. All you get with the performance pack is just that rear wing. Everything else on the styling is exactly the same as it was before. So I don't think you're getting some sort of like canards or anything like you would get on, say, like an A45. That is literally it. You're getting that wing, which wouldn't have been there before. It does look quite good, actually. It blends quite well with the pan roof right there. Pan roof, for me, it lets in a lot more lights, but the car itself, particularly as it's 5-door only, is really good. It's always been quite airy for me. I always found like the A class of the sort of like the Mark 7 generation, like the previous Gen A45, was quite cramped and claustrophobic. So having a pan roof was more important. It's a nice to have. That's it. In terms of like power figures, you're not going to increase the power from any of the options. Braking performance, you're not going to increase the braking performance from any of your options. The only thing that you could do is put some better tyres on it, because I from standard they just put some basically normal road rubber on it. Maybe some Michelin PS4S's, which a subscriber did call straight away. You could even put some Cup 2s on it and have some real fun if you really wanted to, if this was like your special car. I hope that helps you guys out, because I do want to, if you follow my channel for a while and you are thinking of which one to spec and how to spec it, the one thing I would say from my perspective is just enjoy the car. Get the most out of the car. Options, for me, don't necessarily add too much to the experience. I'm certainly more of a base spec car kind of person and enjoy the essence of the car. For example, my Mark 7 3-door manual, it's a base spec. It's got limestone grey paint, which would have been an option. It's got like the winter pack and stuff like that, but it's a base spec. All that stuff came as standard except the paint, actually. And I absolutely love it. Do I feel shortchanged? No. Did I save a lot of money from not getting all the other options? Yes, I did. you can do the same, and that's what I'd say. And the more subtle it looks, the more almost enjoyable it is, because it's a quick car. It's stupidly quick, and it's really, really fun to drive. And I don't want people to think they've spent a lot of money on a car and it's like, oh, I didn't go for this, what a shame. It's honestly not the end of the world. If you picked no options, I wouldn't be sort of sitting in your car going, oh, well, you should have gone for that. You know, you've got a great car, you've got a great package. And actually, if you do have a base Golf 8R, reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, or drop me an email. Just go to the YouTube About section on my homepage. I'd love to do a Q&A. I'd love to do like a first drive potentially as well, as I've done previously on the channel, and share that as well. I'm also after a standard Mark 8 GTI, hopefully in a manual, because I just think like those base spec cars can actually sort of sneak under the radar a little bit. You can kind of get a bit distracted by the glittery options list, and you forget about what the actual car is all about. That is where your money's going, on the car, not on the options. Comment below, let me know your thoughts, let me know how you spec it. It's all personal opinion. This is a community channel.